What All right, Brey. So, what is the update from working with the Mambas?
Uh, they're great, man. AJ's awesome. Coach Zach's awesome. Coach Bri is top notch. No, it went really well. Two baskets. They had them on two of the back courts. They have four courts in there, and they have six baskets per court, but none of them lower. Right, so
Yeah.
they had 5 year. The first hour and a half was 5-year-old kids, 5 to 6 or 7 years of age, perfect for our product. We had it at probably 7.5 feet. Um, and they split the groups up. One court at half court was Coach Zach with some of the kids, and the other was Coach Bri with 20 kids. They did an amazing job. And the funny thing was, Anthony, I with all the baskets they had, I thought they were going to incorporate this, like use basketball and then use this for drills. They didn't. The kids just naturally walked to these hoops because they were lower. She got them in groups. She did a lot of our drills. She created drills using multiple kids. They loved it. They loved it. And the kids were just crazy. In fact, a sixth grade kid came up to me yesterday. He said, "Hey, can I buy this?" And I said, "Hey, we could sell you this. We customized it for Dude Perfect." And I showed him the video of Dude Perfect and Luca. And then when he walked away, AJ and the coach is like, "Yeah, that kid has a ton of money. He'll probably buy for his garage, for his front yard." So it was great. We left them there, and it was I've never seen those coaches are really good, and they got creative with it. They used some of the stuff that we have in our playbook, but they also did some other things with it, which was great. So
So you learned
yeah,
a couple of
it was
new
cool.
you learned a couple new ways to use it even.
Yeah, I one of the drills that we had, she kind of took and modified it, and it was incredible. I said, "We'll name it after Bree. We'll call it the Bree Dribble Knockout Shoot Drill." She had 14 kids, and I love what she was doing, and the kids were all engaged, all of them, for like 30 minutes. Like to get 14 kids actively engaged, and it was awesome. I've never seen it. And then AJ had him playing the game on the other side, and the kids picked the game up like it was weird. Those kids have never played it. They picked it up like they pick it up at our tournaments. Like they were playing it, they were having fun with it, they were smiling. Like it was great. I've never seen anything like that.
This
So
was the first time that AJ got to see it in use because when we went to Brian Scalabrine's basketball tournament as an activation, it was just set up outside, but no one got to really shoot on it. So this is the first
oh,
time
you had
AJ
it
got to see
outside.
it.
I didn't.
AJ got to
Oh, I
see it
didn't
in
know.
use. So this is his first time he saw it. What was his thoughts? Because he's a very key person over there in that organization. He's
He
he's
came up to
he's
me
he's
yesterday.
the
He
GM.
came
I
up
mean,
to me
he's
yesterday,
responsible for
Anthony.
everything, man. You know.
He came up to Yeah, he's great. He's a great guy. He actually worked at a Catholic school. I just sent him our Catholic school video, and I talked to him. I said, "Hey AJ, that Catholic school you worked at, is there anybody that you could give me the name of to send? I'm going to send you a video that we did of a school that we have one at in DC. It's a Catholic school." And he goes, "Yeah, no problem." So I sent him the video this morning, and I said, "I'd love to get a contact over there because we're going to start reaching out to Catholic schools. This is perfect for them." And he came up to me and he's like, "Shane, this thing's gonna work big." Like he saw it. He's like, this thing is gonna take off. He got it. He got it really quick.
So that's good because
And
I mean he's responsible for every single weekend at that. They call it the pit. The White Mamba facility is called the pit, and there's apparently
yeah,
1,700, 1,700 kids that are part of the White Mambas.
yeah,
Brian Scalabrine is very hands-on involved there. Obviously, when the Celtics were
yeah,
not playing, you know,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
but we're going to have an event the week before basketball season in New England because for every other sport complex, the weekend before basketball season is a volleyball weekend. So they go literally
Yeah.
from volleyball one weekend to basketball the next weekend. But because that
Yeah.
facility can only do basketball the weekend before basketball season, it's just like any other weekend during the year, meaning it's an opening
Well,
for us to
they're
do a
they're
special event before the kickoff of basketball season. So that is the next
they're
thing that's going to happen there.
Yeah, so none of their baskets, they have 6 baskets on 4 different courts. So that's 24 baskets. None of those baskets lower. They're all 10 feet. So, if you look at his first group of kids that came, they were 5 years old. Those kids can't shoot at 10 feet. So all you can really do with them is dribble and pass. Well, when you lower that thing to 7 feet, it's a magnet for little kids. They can shoot on it. They can learn the proper technique. The great thing is you can get multiple kids, like 14 kids on each, or 20 or 30 kids on each basket. They only had 2 coaches. They had 40 some kids. They had 2 coaches. The rule of thumb in camps, because I've run them, is if you can get 1 coach to every 10 players. But because of that basket, the way it's set up, and you have 3 goals in a circular area, 1 coach can manage all that. It's easier for them to manage. So I love that. That
So they
showed that.
basically they doubled the efficiency of a
Yes,
camper to coach
w-
ratio, meaning like
correct. We've never
you're
talked
you're
about that.
staffing a camp with 10 kids per coach. With traditional basketball, we can accomplish 20 kids per coach and give those kids more, you know,
And direct supervision.
in
You
direct
can't,
supervision,
when you have
right?
a
Okay.
basketball court, I can't be at one end working on one basket and coach at the other end another basket, but I can stand right there and see all three. I'm actively, I have
And I
them,
mean the alternative to that, it'd be 20 kids around one basket. How many shots
and
is
they would,
someone going to take? Because if they're
they're not
at 2 baskets, then you can't have your eyes on 2 places. So
correct.
this is like in multiple ways. This is just it just makes more sense, right? This is adding
It's not
value
just
to the
for,
camp and
it's
the
not just
operator of
for
that
the,
event.
it is the easiest thing to manage, man. Like if you gave me a job and you said, I want you to manage these 6 baskets, I'm going to need 6 coaches to do that. You know what I mean? Whereas I can manage that by one person. For physical education class, when you have 30 or 40 kids, this makes their job easier. It makes a coach and a teacher's job a lot easier, man. Like I can
Well,
stand there, I can see
we
what's
have
going on from a
we
safety.
we have one of the there's a lot of problems that we solve, or ways we add value to our customers, but
Yeah,
when you look at uh you know physical education, as you mentioned, you look at the
yeah,
average PE class. There are many schools where you have 80 or 90 kids in a PE class. So and basketball is the sport that they like the most, but yet there's nothing you can do with 90 kids in a gymnasium in a PE class with 1 or 2 teachers. But yet you could technically use two 360 hoops.
point or a teacher standpoint, um, it's efficient because you can see every kid on that basket easily. You can see what they're doing. You can coach them easily. You're not screaming. You don't have to have extra coaches there to manage it. You can manage all of those baskets in a small area by itself. It solves a lot of problems, man. Like it's really cool. From a teacher, it
So it's
make
not just like people quickly think about this and they think, oh, there's more baskets to shoot on, but then they think, oh yeah, but we already have maybe they have a gym that has the 2 side baskets, so they have 6 baskets in a gymnasium, and it's like, well,
yeah,
but really what this is, it's the ability for the educator, the coach, the PE teacher to have their eyes on the kids that are around 3 baskets, because you don't get
yeah.
that in any other setup.
No, you'd have to look around. You'll miss things. I can't be at one end of the court and look to the left or look down the court and run down there and say you're doing that drill wrong. And now I leave that basket alone. Right? They're doing their stuff from a safety point. And everybody's worrying about kids getting hurt. You see everything that's going on. Like from a liability standpoint, I know if a kid gets hurt, I see it. I see everything on that basket. I'm right there. And I see every footwork, every part of that drill. I can look and say, "You're doing that drill wrong. Hey, basket number two. Let's
How
demo
quickly
that."
did
And
those kids pick up on the game?
quick, really quick, and I was really shocked at that.
And
And I
they
didn't say
played,
any.
so they played it out and it was fun. They broke
They
into
they
teams and they
they
played our
played they
game.
played on the one hoop. He had kids on the one hoop for both sessions, elementary 5 years old to like 8 years old, and then the other ones came in for an hour and a half. The second group was like middle school. They played on one hoop, and then she did drills on the other hoop on the other court. They picked it up really quick. They got it. You could tell. It's very similar to what we've used before. Like those kids have never seen that basket. They've never played that game. I know that. So for them to pick it up that quick, we didn't put a circle down. They just put. I didn't want to do that. I said I don't want to mess this. Do that. But they just put cones out and they played around the cones and it was fine. It was
Outstanding.
great.
No, I mean,
And I'll
it's
tell you,
interesting. Like,
and A- Anthony, when those kids walked in that gym, they walked all the way down through all those baskets on the first two courts. It was on the back. It was at the jump circle of the main courts on the back two courts. Dude, those things were at 7.5 feet. Every kid walked right to that thing. Like it has something about it, man. The
So
look
Bray,
of it.
as because today's the last day of 2025, so I'm going to throw it out
Yeah,
there right now. Next
yeah,
year during Christmas break, okay, in
yeah,
25 markets that we'll be in, we're going to be in 30 markets, but I'm going to say in 25 of them, we're going to have four partners that work with 360 Hoops, that encourage 360 Hoops events and are part of kind of
yeah,
our ecosystem. So, four
yeah,
in 25 markets, there will be
yeah.
100 camps a year from now that are doing exactly what you just observed this
It's fucking
last
crazy.
week, okay?
Yeah,
100.
yeah,
100. And we're literally 100 at the same 2 days because they do it. It's like
yeah,
it's like the 26th and 27th or 27th, 28th. Like it's the Monday and Tuesday following Christmas generally, right? It's like a two
yeah.
day winter break, 360 hoops, 100 1 year from now, right? I'm throwing that out because we will have the hoops in those markets. We'll have the ability to do it. Like there's no operator of a Christmas holiday camp that wouldn't want to have this. In fact, we had multiple that asked us for this. We just weren't able to do it this
They
year. Like
well, they could.
Julian's camp with Synergy Basketball, he wanted to run that too. Like there's no place that wouldn't want to have a special 360
It's not.
hoops
It's
winter camp.
yeah.
And I think there's an
It's
opportunity for a
unbelievable.
spring
It's
break camps too, right?
unbelievable.
Aren't there like spring break camps, winter camps, and summer camps?
Well, there are spring break March when they're out of school for spring break, and that's a good time. I told them that. I mentioned that to them. I said you should. You had 40 kids, and you got those kids within like 1 week of promoting. They had 20 last Tuesday. 42 showed up, and then yesterday, like some kids came the first day, some kids came both days, and then they had more new kids yesterday. Like I was like, where all these kids come from? Like I was like, this is awesome. It was perfect, and they only had two baskets. Like you could do this, and I told them, I said you should do spring break. You should do because that's when March Madness is. That's when the NCAA tournament is. That's when kids are off. You do a freaking. We'll put 4 or 5 out and just crush it.
Yeah.
Kids love it. Kids love it.
All right.
And
All right.
yeah,
Let me hold on a second.
his floor. I literally was pushing it with like 2 fingers and it was taking off
So
on me. It's like
those new casters are
skateboard.
badass.
Dude,
they're
I
like
could ride
roller.
that
Are they like
thing.
rollerblade casters?
Yeah, yeah. It's like fucking dude, that thing's like fast as hell. I was like, Jesus, this thing, I mean, the thing weighs almost 1,000 pounds. I put 5 weights on each of them. I put an
Okay,
extra
great.
weight on
All
each
right,
because I
good.
knew they were going to be there.
All right, good, good,
But
good.
no, I mean, they Anthony, it checks so many boxes. Like, let's talk. It's a great game, blah blah blah. But from a teaching, from a coach's perspective, from a physical education, from a camp director's perspective, I mean, it checks so many boxes. When you can get 15 to 20 kids around one of those and get them all active, that's freaking in that small area.
Yeah,
That's unheard of, man. That's
yeah,
like people don't understand that till they see it.
yeah.
Like we have to talk, we have to continue to, how we explain that, how we market that, because it
Right.
was they already did. AJ came back to me yesterday and he goes, already talked to Scalabrine. He gave it 2 thumbs up. I'm like, what? Don't tell him I said that, but he goes, he gave it 2 thumbs up. He was excited that the numbers for the camp were great. There was 42 kids there. That's fucking revenue. And then he was, excited to hear more about the hoops. And I'm sure AJ told him about, like, dude, this is pretty cool.
Dude, I mean,
I mean,
I
these kids were fine.
remember. I listen. I met with him. You know what I mean? And then like he's like, I don't want to say he's a promoter, but like, he can be like a hype man. Especially for the White Mambas. So like
Well, he has a
once he
podcast. Yeah.
once he kind of wraps his head around
Well,
like
he's a
this
lot
is
like
this
my, yeah.
he's gonna blow this thing up. You watch.
He's a bigger version of my brother. Those guys, they don't want to get bogged down with details. You know what I mean? Like they have a lot of shit going on, and I get it. You know what I mean? Like maybe you and I one day will be like that, where we don't have to deal with every little detail. And I get that. But like that thing, that product money from,
Yeah, I mean
whether it's a camp.
this could be during during outside of basketball season, they can make 360 hoop season to compete with volleyball because they're not in the volleyball game, so they might as well come up with
Well, they
something.
could. They,
Like
well, they could
they could be
even
doing
do. They could
360
do.
hoops during volleyball season, like January,
They
February.
they could do an after school program for the five-year-old to 10-year-old kids,
Yeah,
right? They could like